name is Kenneth Page, and I'm here with Adulting 101.org. Here at Adulting 101, our mission is to influence a generation of young people, to build a strong foundation for their lives, and to position themselves to discover what they can contribute to this world. Through transparent, vulnerable, and honest conversation, we will teach meaningful, impactful, and applicable life skills that young people need to successfully navigate life. I'm pleased to share with you today this final installment on this three-part series revolving around the conversation of money. Now, in the first two parts, the value of money, we talked about fundamental and essential concepts related to money. In the second series, we talked about titled Income, Wealth, and Happiness. We took a deeper dive into this conversation on money to have a better view of money and understand how to handle it. Today, in this third and final part called How to Saving and Investing, we really answer some questions and get into some saving strategies and some investment tips and basics. So, if you haven't seen part 1 and 2, I highly suggest you go watch those and get caught up and then come finish this conversation with us. Grab some pens, some paper, and some notepads, something to write on, and let's get ready to get started on this great conversation.
Really for Diverted and for Mackenzie. What are some good tips? I know that we spoke on, basically having goals that you want to set for you to save. But I guess what are some other good tips or things that y'all can go out there for just budgeting and
like spending
habits and making sure that what's a good way to save? Because I guess my problem is you take care of everything you need to, and then you have this money left over that seems to always just get gone. You take care of everything you need to, and then you have this money left over that seems to always just get gone. So, like, what are some good habits or good ideas or good things that you guys can kind of just go out there, not just for me, but for all of us that will help to get saving and spending?
Because, or some things you do or would prefer for us to do.
Right, because that's something that I feel like is super, super important, especially for Mackenzie and Michaela. Like you said, when you're that age, you don't really think too much of saving and things like that. It's just more of like you got this money and then that's it. Nobody really just tells you the importance of saving and investing and things like that. So are there any tips or anything that y'all can just throw out here for us, me especially, for budgeting and how to save? Because that's the problem. How do you save? How do you do that?
There's interchangeable words we could use: purpose, goal, reason, why. All those words are going to determine why you walk the way you walk. And let's just, as an example, I've always had a feeling of like, I know I'm meant to learn about money. And that's just because I wanted to share it with other people. And the only way I can learn about it is by getting more experience, using it, learning it. So for me, I always just had a need of, I want to beat my dad. And to beat my dad, I have to have more. My dad is always going to have more than me. He has 40 years on my life. So to catch up to him, I'm always running in that direction. I'm always got to go forward. So for me, that's why I'm always save and spend. It's two mentalities you can have here. You said just now, spend, save. But to come, in this middle here, that goal or whatever it may be for you to get to the save then spend, I don't know what it is. Maybe you don't know what it is right now either. For Michaela, she said it was as simple as when she get the time that she needs some money, she just wants to have it. Like it could, like for her, she's 13 saying, she doesn't know what's going to happen in her life, but one day she's going to need some money and she's just saving up now so she got it. So it could be something as simple as that for you. I'm not sure what your bills are. I don't know what you're paying for, but no matter what you do And I'm gonna speak from myself. I pay God first, I pay myself, and then I pay my bills. Whether I pay myself $25, whether I pay myself $5, whether it just be $1, I don't care how much it is. I give God money to set it apart for me so I'm not attached to it. I pay myself because I worked hard to get it. And then I'll pay everybody else because they didn't have to work with me to make this money. So whatever it may be for you, I really just whatever you get paid. And I probably like at first it might just be a different thing like in your mind and it just might feel different. But just anytime you get money from somewhere, stash 10%, like Javertis was saying, 10% is my goal. I do more than that because like I strive to discipline myself harder and harder every day. But that's where I started at, and that's 10%. 10% of your income, no matter how you get paid, 10% just put it in a bank account that you can't touch. And was where I would start.
And the some of the things that I would say too. So definitely what Mackenzie just said, like pay yourself first. And again, I don't care. Even if when I first started doing this, gosh, I've been out of college that long now. But yeah, when I first started doing this, like almost 15, 16 years ago, we're talking about like I would literally, I would get, I'll have money, I get paid, I put $100 into a savings account, and before the week was up, I'd be pulling $20 out to buy lunch or get food. But I started building that habit. I started building the habit. Princess, this will probably be more applicable to you than anyone else. Well, I don't know because I know Michaela got a savings account, and Mackenzie might have a savings account too. It just don't have any money in it. But we gotta if you do have savings accounts and checking accounts, print out your statement, right? And especially you, Princess, print out your statement because, and I say especially you because you're probably making more than everybody else, right? But print out that statement, and I want you to spend time diving through your goals. If you've not thought through that stuff yet, I'll send my calendar to KP. He can share my calendar with you. Myself and my associate, or either my associate Adrian, will walk you through kind of just some initial goal planning type stuff that we do with all of our clients, and we go real deep. And it's real like.
Yes, I would definitely love like your contact information.
Okay, all right. So we'll do that goal. But what you're gonna do? You're gonna print out your bank. When you print that bank statement out, I want you to compare your bank statement, and I want you to do it with your goals side by side, your bank statement. And I want you to circle every single thing, Mackenzie, you listening to? Because you're going to start saving too. So I want you to circle every single thing on your bank statement that does not help you accomplish the goals that you wrote out. All right. So if it doesn't help you accomplish that goal, I want you to circle it. That's going to be some eating out. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff, right? But then I want you to come back and I want you to go through everything that you circled. And if it actually hurts you, if it actually puts a barrier between you and your goal, I want you to put an X in it, and I don't want you to ever do that again. Right? If it puts a barrier between you and your goal, write an X through it, and this is gone. Like, we're not doing this no more. This is actually hurting me from trying to achieve what I want to achieve, right? And then we're going to take the remaining circles. They're not helping us, but they're not necessarily hurting us. We're going to take those remaining circles, we're going to add them up, and our goal is the next month, we just want to decrease that by 25%. We start at 25%. Now, we don't want to decrease it by 25% and do something else. We want to decrease it by 25% and hopefully give ourselves that 25% as opposed to spending it, right? The other thing I want you to do is I want you to actually go to your bank, whoever you bank with. I want you to physically go inside the bank, which a lot of people in your generation don't necessarily do, right? But I want you to physically go inside the bank, and I want you to get a check registry, right? And for 30 days, I want you to live out of your registry. Right? So let's say you got $200 in the bank. Every time you swipe your card, I want you to round up to the nearest 5. So if you go buy a stick of gum, that's $1.19, right? When I was Michaela McKenzie age, a stick of gum was 25 cents, right? So if you go buy a stick of gum for $1.19, I want you to round up, and in your bank check registry, I want you to write gum $5. And you're just going to subtract that from your $200. So now I got $195 that I can spend. If it's not in your check registry, if your check registry gets to 0, don't spend nothing else, right? But I want you to live out of that registry. You know, when you put money in the bank, add it to your registry. So I want you to live out of that register for 30 days. And at the end of that 30 days, I want you to reconcile your register to your actual bank account online. You're going to reconcile those two. Instantly, if you do it the right way, you should have more money in your bank than what your checkbook says you have, your check register says you have. That will give you the baseline for what you can start saving next month. That should be an easy baseline amount for you to start saving next month. And then the third thing I'll say is another practical thing that my wife and I would still do now from time to time is I will start with a day, but we have weeks where we say outside of like stuff that we have to do. So if somebody got to go to the doctor or something like that, or we're going to put money into our investment account or pay a bill, no extra spending. So have a no spending day, right? Like Monday, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm not going to, if you normally eat out 3 times a day or 2 times a day, I'm not going to eat out on Monday. And the 2 times you would normally eat out, I want you to take, if you normally spend $10 at Chick-fil-A or 15, 20 bucks at Outback, I want you to take that 15, 20 bucks, that 10 bucks, or that 30 bucks that you would have spent that day eating out and dump it into your savings account. Right? And so those 3 things will get you started, but make sure I'll share my calendar with Kenneth and you can book, but book a consultation on there. It's free. You're not going to pay anything for it, but we'll help you dive into the goals, because the reality is until you have something worth saving for, you're not going to do it.
I was just going to throw in this last thing, and I was thinking about it while Javirtus was saying, giving the spill. I would go to Google and type in their budget template, and start with he's like you said, pull out your statement. I would start going to that and just filling out that budget template and just putting in there how much money you ended up spending last month. And that'll probably just be another part of what he was saying. But I use a budget template. I've been using the same one for I don't know how long, but I just put in basically how much income I got. I already know my expense, and I don't wait till the day I get paid to fill this out. I fill it out before that. I don't know if like your parents have ever said this, but you don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. You go to the grocery store before you get hungry, so you don't, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would do a budget, but that's just what I get into.
I like to think of budgeting as just, being accountable for my money. I'm going to take the time to plan my spending. I'm going to track my spending. It's not so much as a restriction on money as much as it is I'm planning my money, I'm tracking my spending. I'm going to be accountable for where my money goes. I want to ask this question on behalf of the future investor on the line, Mr. Cyrus. Javertus, earlier you talked about that we can actually get into investing at an early age. So if we're middle school, high school, what are different avenues we can start to get our investing feet wet?
But literally, there's so many different ways. You can use some of the apps. I don't know about the age. I think some of the apps have like a 16-year-old age limit for them, like your Acorns and stuff like that. But some of them don't. But you can get started with an app like that. You can open brokerage accounts and stuff like that, being literally from the formation paper says from age 0 to age 80. So you can open those type of accounts. Like you can't do like an IRA or a Roth and stuff like that unless you actually have a job. But like Mackenzie, we can literally we can get your business. You can get your business formatted if you don't have it already. But you can have your LLC paperwork, all that kind of stuff. You can have your own IRA where you put money into and start retirement planning like right now because you have a business and you're making money. Right. So definitely, if anybody want to talk about that stuff, I can talk with you guys about that. I'm actually typing my calendar, the actual link to my calendar in the chat. So you can literally go on, you click on this link, it'll tell you my availability. I'm putting it in the chat right now and we can set some stuff up. You can get some guided information if you want guided information as well. Like, and I literally, if you get on the calendar, I'll walk you through it and go online with you, looking at the computer and help you set it up and talk you through. If you got questions about specific investments and stuff like that, I can tell you what I would do. I can't technically advise you because I won't be managing the account. But it's a free account. Do it. Like, and then we have some restrictions on like how much we can start accounts with and stuff like that and all that kind of stuff. You don't have that there. So that's another great resource. And add stuff to your watch list. So I have clients who literally send me their watch list every month. They don't have any money. Those particular people, like I'm doing other stuff for them, but these accounts are not under my tutelage. They send me their watch list every month. I send them my analysis of their watch list and kind of what I think, because I'm a nerd and I like that stuff. And you make decisions based off of that. And I don't charge people to do that. Like there's a ton of people that charge folks to do investing courses and all that kind of stuff. I don't charge folks to do that. I show you. And I do all the heavy lifting, all the research. Like I look at balance sheets, income statements, their cash positions. I look at a whole bunch of stuff that y'all don't care about to analyze stuff. And so I'll do that.
So, okay, I got a question. So what you think about like Bitcoin, Forex, stuff like that?
I think that it offers great opportunity. And great risk. It's super speculative. what I tell my clients all the time and the way I view it. So I have Coinbase wallet. I have Bitcoin. I've had Bitcoin since 2017. And so what I tell my clients and what I tell people all the time is put only invest into the more speculative stuff, what you're willing to lose. So like if you're okay with waking up one day and it's just not there, do that. But that's just me. That's my personal philosophy. Like you have other investors who are really strong and love Bitcoin. They'll tell you, yeah, you need to take all your money out your bank and put it in Bitcoin or for it. Like that ain't me. For me, it's super speculative. I think there's a place for it. I think there's opportunity there. So I want to be a part of that opportunity. So I throw some money over there to that type of stuff. Like heck, 2 weeks ago, I bought Dogecoin just because. Like I don't really have much faith in it. But who knows? I'm not gonna miss the $250 I put over there. If something happens, then great. I look like a genius and I'll ride the wave and I'll cash out at some point. So only put in what you're willing to lose, that would be my advice. Mackenzie, would you have anything different than that?
I would say that you only invest what you're willing to spend. Again, guys, if we come back to it, if we pay ourselves first and we're paying other people, that money that we paid ourselves, we worked hard to get. 40 hours or whatever it may, how many hours you had to put in. So it is hard-earned money. So like Traversa said, spend only what you're willing to lose, what you can lose. And I would also say diversification. I don't think you would put, hide all your money underneath your mattress. You're definitely you want to put it in different places. So, something happens, you can go to a different place to grab it. So, just kind of splitting it up a little bit. But yeah, Bitcoin, I think is good. I have some too in my portfolio, but I think it's definitely good. I won't say it's good. Again, it's speculation, but my speculation says that I have an average life expectancy of about 80 years or 73 years old. So I think between here and then, it's definitely going to get more. It's going to be worth more than today. So that's my stance on it. But, again, speculation is up to individuals.
Word, we gotta, when you get into investing, that's a whole nother conversation. We start looking at, risk assessment and risk profile and, how much you're trying to put up. Michaela and Mackenzie, the twins, y'all got any questions before we get out of here?
No, not really.
Okie dokie. All right, Mackenzie, I'll let you go first, and then Javertis, any closing remarks?
I don't really have any, man. You guys are definitely on the right track. I can't imagine, I definitely hope I gave you guys value, but even if I didn't, Javertis definitely laid a lot of game on you guys. And if I were to have, you heard him say, like, when he was he's a little bit older or in between my age and his age, he was making over $100,000. That what it takes to hold that level of, I don't know if clout's the right word, but I feel like it's a word we can all, latch on to. But for him to walk in that every day and him to just lay game on you guys at your age, it puts you leaps and bounds above, not to say you're competing against anybody, but it puts you leaps and bounds above your neighbor.
Before Javertis gets started, Mackenzie, to comment on what you said about him, he also mentioned that he was making over 6 figures and walked away from that to start his own business. So, that's an amazing thing, and that's a sacrifice, leadership. Oh man, it's a whole nother caveat, but I think that was worth pointing out, because if we're trying to attain wealth and get there, somewhere along the line, it might come with a sacrifice. And I'm certain for him to sustain himself between the time he walked away from that job to starting his new job and then letting that get to a place where it will pay the bills, there was some sacrifice in that moment, and there was also some past decisions that he had to make sure he was in a good position to do that.
So a lot of these things are really tied in together. I thought that was worth mentioning. But JB, closing remarks. What you think?
No, man. Thank y'all so much. And Mackenzie, I do want to throw, man, you dropped a ton of bombs. So I literally have my phone. I've been taking notes. I have a new definition for wealth. I'm excited, man. I love it. So thank you for sharing, brother. And but no, you guys are amazing. I put my calendar in there. Michaela, Mackenzie, Cyrus, Princess, KP, Mackenzie, anytime, like literally this thing guides my life. So like I told KP last night when he called me, I said, dude, let me make sure my wife ain't putting nothing in my calendar. because like I'll get with you as soon as I get in the house. I ain't even got in the house yet. But man, anytime any of y'all want to chop it up, if you got questions about anything, there's everything from 15 minutes to 90 minutes that you can carve out. If you just got like tons of questions and stuff like that, after we meet initially, I'll make sure y'all have my cell phone number and everything. Well, I'll type it in the chat too before we get off. I'll make sure all y'all have my cell phone number. Text me. I still have students from my bridge program at Furman who text me way too much. So text me. I will respond. I love meeting people and I love connecting with people. And when I throw out stuff, I do it genuinely. Like I really want to be a resource. I really want to help. So don't hesitate to reach out. My only closing remarks would be, don't wait. Like I shared something on Facebook maybe a week or so ago, and it was just simply knowledge not applied really isn't knowledge at all, right? So if you're learning stuff and you're obtaining stuff, but you're not applying it, you're really not learning it, right? And so back to that six-figure job, like I was learning so much with this company. I was helping them do acquisitions and buying other companies and doing all of this kind of stuff. But I got to a point in that company where the three people that had higher positions than me all had the same last name. So go figure. It was like I've reached the proverbial glass ceiling, so to speak. And I was willing to take a moment and to bet on myself that there was some God-given gifts inside of me that he placed there, that he wanted to awaken. I was willing to take a moment and to bet on myself that there was some God-given gifts inside of me that he placed there, that he wanted to awaken. And for me, this really is, this is ministry for me. Like I tell my wife all the time, and before I started my business in 2012, it was, I'm leaving this because I feel like God's called me to full-time ministry. But for me, I feel like my pulpit is going to be my business or my office. So while I might not be preaching a sermon on Sundays, for me, I get a chance to pray with people in my office. I get a chance to share. I get a chance to really challenge people to think about their goals, what they want, to really see and apply biblical principles. For me, I was in a very corporate space with the Fortune 100 company that people all the time were like taking biblical principles. These people who knew God not at all and did not have any regard for him or love him or call him their Lord or their Savior were taking the principles that I had grown to love and know and cherish and applying them in their lives, and they were working because the laws of God work regardless of your faith. And I'm so sorry. So Adulting 101 community, these are 100% the views of Javertis Burnett, JB. I'm not speaking for Kenneth or
JB, I can tell you this now. You can go through the curriculum and we can attach scripture to all of these topics that's in here. So there's absolutely nothing to forgive about, because, and not to get all preachy, you want to open that word of God, the Bible. It talks about money a lot.
The Bible talks about money so much. David, one of my favorite scriptures, 1 Chronicles 29, David talks about David is dedicating the temple that his son Solomon, that David's getting ready to dedicate this temple. And David says that, like, Lord, what are we even doing? Like, people are waiting to hear me speak. He's like, yours is the kingdom, yours is the power. Like, you have literally given us the ability to obtain wealth. You have literally given us the ability to obtain wealth. You have literally given us the ability to obtain wealth. You have literally given us the ability to obtain wealth. And everything that we have is only a reflection of that you gave to us. Like, and people was waiting to hear this great philosophical story from David. And he was like, yeah, God gave us everything we got. And now we're going to dedicate it and give it back to him. And he goes into detail, like he literally has given us the ability to obtain wealth. So when Mackenzie was talking about like everything that we need for happiness being inside of us, like all the ability that you need, everything that you need to obtain wealth. Like Mackenzie, I promise you, you just didn't wake up one morning and start baking cakes. Like God literally placed that, whether you know it or not, that desire was literally placed inside of you. And for those who are thinking, oh, baking is just as simple as following recipes, your boy loved to cook. I cook every day and I love it. Like I take pride in it. I might throw some lamb chops, some steaks, some whatever. Like I love it, right? I cook. I married a true 21st century woman. I do all the cooking, right? So I cook. I tried to bake. I followed all the instructions. I put in all the ingredients. It still didn't come out right. And my son didn't eat it. My son eats everything. The boy eats dirt. He wouldn't eat the cake. Right?
He's not lying. He's not lying.
So that is a skill, like that is an actual ability that you have from God that you can leverage to obtain wealth. Right? And so, anywho, I'm preaching now. That's don't wait. Get started. Like, don't push off for tomorrow what you can do today. Like, get started, take the steps, but start by really being reflective and holding up a mirror in front of yourself and saying, what is it that I really want? What are the goals I want to accomplish? What's important to me? Where do I want to be 12 months from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? One of my favorite books is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of my favorite habits is beginning with the end in mind, right? We have to begin with the end in mind. Like if you can already see yourself accomplishing or doing whatever you want to do, the battle's halfway over. And for my teenagers, you guys read the 7 Habits of Highly Successful Teens. It is so impactful. It's on your level, and it will change your perspective. That's all I got, KP.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Y'all, Javertus, Princess, Cyrus, Mackenzie, and Michaela. Thank y'all so much for coming together and having this conversation.
Wow, what an amazing and informative conversation that we just finished up. You know, today we learned about saving, we learned about investing, and we also got some tips, tools, and strategies so that we can start our savings journey and our investing journey. Remember, Javertus gave us 3 tips and tools, methods that we can use to get into a habit of saving. We talked about getting your bank statements and comparing your spending to your goals and decreasing those by 25% a month, decreasing your wasted spending that don't line up with your goals by 25% a month. We talked about getting a check registry, going to your bank and getting a check registry using that $5 roundup method to create some extra space in your budget that you can identify a baseline amount of saving that you can do the following month. And the third thing he taught us about was just having no spending days and taking that money that you would have spent and being able to save those. Then Mackenzie talked to us about the importance of budgeting as it relates to saving. Remember, all of those methods really bring us into an awareness of what our money is doing and where it is going. And that's why it's important for us to have goals. By having goals, being aware of where it is we want to go, what it is we want to do with our finances, and then also becoming aware of what it is we're actually doing with our money, it's going to help us close that gap so that we can begin that path of financial freedom and begin to build wealth, sustainable wealth, generational wealth that'll benefit not only ourselves but our families to come. And then we also got into the basics of investing. You learned a few things about investing, places that you can start at. We talked about a few financial concepts and a few financial terminologies that you can use to better understand the world of investing. But again, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you caught part 1 and part 2 of this series. Remember, part 1, we started out talking about the value of money. In part 2, we talked about income, we talked about wealth, and we talked about happiness. All of those as it relates to money. And then Javertis broke down that cash flow quadrant. So if you haven't seen part 1 and 2, I highly recommend that you go back and you watch those 2 sessions as well, so you can get that full understanding of the foundation of the basics of money. Now that we're finished here, I got a call to action. There's a couple of things that I want you to do now that you've gone through this series, you've watched this video with us. The first thing that I want you to do is take a moment of reflection. All throughout the series and even in today's session, some questions popped up on the screen. Go back, reflect on those questions, answer them. I hope you were taking notes. I hope you were writing those things down. Reflect on the information that you were presented with and compare them to your current life situations. While you were going through this video, if you're like me, different circumstances, situations, and scenarios about your life may have come up. They didn't come up for no reason at all. So make sure you take the time to reflect on those and think about those things. The next thing that I want you to do is put some application with it, all right? Remember, JB talked to us earlier about you have to apply the knowledge that you have. That was his whole path of leaving a 6-figure job to start his own business that he now makes more than than he did when he was working, was simply the art of applying knowledge. So we want to make sure that after you reflected on the knowledge that you received today, the knowledge that you received in these other series, that you take it and actually find a way to apply it to your life. And we make sure to do a good job about not only giving you information, but giving you tips, those things that you can do today, that you can start right now to help you reach that financial freedom, to help you build wealth again. The third thing that I need you to do, share this video. If you've learned anything from it, if you've benefited from it, I need you to share this video. You're one person. I just want you to find 2 people to share this video with. If it touched you, it's going to touch them as well. The last thing that I need you to do is reach out to us. Talk to us, communicate with us, share your goals, share your plans with us, and we'll talk back with you. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Our handle is @adulting101org. And when you talk with us, use that hashtag #doadulting. Now, in the credits of this, you're going to see the contact information for Adulting101org. You're going to see the contact information for Javertis and the contact information for both Big McKenzie and Little McKenzie. So make sure you reach out to them if you like to get some of those McKenzie sweet treats. Like to get some help setting goals or just getting some overall guidance and counseling with your finances, they love to talk with you. And something else I want you to do, all right? Have these conversations with the people around you. If you're a younger person, go to an older person, a guardian, a coach, a mentor, an aunt, an uncle, and talk to them. Have these conversations with them so you can gain your insight on the subject. Older people, if you have younger people around you in your sphere, Have these conversations with them. Talk about your views on money, how you budget, how important it is to you. Because again, we want to share this information to make sure we're building up not only ourselves, but this younger generation, the next generation to come. So make sure you use the conversations you watched us have today and turn around and have these same conversations in your sphere of influence. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We have a lot more content coming for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.